In this video, I want to show you how to create a Flipgrid discussion. Your first step is to go to flipgrid.com. At the top of the screen, there's an educator login. If you click that, you have the option to create an account, or if you've used Flipgrid before, just enter your information and log into Flipgrid. Once you log into your account, you'll see any existing grids you may have started. To begin a new one, just click New Grid. When you're creating a new grid, there are different options. One is to use school email domain, and then you specify which domain you're using. So we would probably use appstate.edu. You can also specify specific email addresses, or make something public. Even if you make something public so people outside of AppState could use it, you can still add a password for security. I'm going to stick with school email domain. Next, you would give your grid a name. Sometimes people use the course name or whatever the topic might be about. Here is a code that students would use to get to this particular grid. Down here below, you can choose some different clip art to use in the background. Then click Next. Because I did specify school email domain, I now need to enter that domain. When students would click the URL, they would be prompted to log in with their Google account. If they didn't have an AppState account, they couldn't access it. You can add multiple domains, but you can't use generic things like gmail.com. Then you click Launch My Grid. Now, we're creating the grid, and that's basically similar to a classroom space. You may want to make some customizations here. There's my name, the grid link. I could add additional domains if I wanted to. Down here in section 3, you may want to decide if you want a notification every time someone makes a post. If you have a lot of students and a lot of posts being made, you may not want that on. If you like the notifications, click to keep it on. Another option you may want to consider here are captions. If I click this, there will be captions generated for people automatically. Now the quality of those captions can vary based on the audio. Down here, you would specify which language to use for the captions. If you make any changes, click Update Grid. Now, when you create a grid, I said earlier, that's similar to a classroom, but I actually haven't created the discussion part for that yet, because a grid can have multiple topics. So I have the grid, got my classroom, but now I want to get the discussion rolling. So I would click New Topic. So for this first one, I might do something simple, like introductions. Here under Video Response Time, I can choose how long people get to talk. So the default is 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that's a good number to start with. Down here you can write a narrative description for the topic. Down here in section 2, you can decide if you would want to moderate this discussion. By default, it's off, and I prefer it that way. So as people make discussions, they just appear. If I needed to delete something, I could. But otherwise, if you have moderation on, you're going to need to approve every post your students would make. So I'm going to leave moderation off. Unlike As You Learn forums, you can actually create launch and freeze dates. So I can have a start date, and when I want to shut the discussion down, I can enter a specific date, and then people can no longer post to it. Down here, you're deciding what resource you want to provide for your students. I wrote the narrative, but I can also make a short video. If I want to do that for my students, I would click this link. So there's my video. Hi. And when I'm ready to start recording the topic, all I would do is hit this button. Hi, please introduce yourself. Now, if I'm happy with that recording, I can hit this next button. As soon as I hit next, I'm still going to get to preview that video, so if I don't like it, I can trash it. Hi, please introduce yourself. So, if I'm happy with that recording and I hit the next button, the next step is actually to create a selfie. So, I would just hit this button and make a selfie. Now, if I'm happy with that, I can hit next. If I didn't like it, again, you always have the option to trash and try again. If I like that one better, I just hit next. You can also add some of these items to the picture if you want to liven them up. So here on this page, there's my topic, and I hit Create Topic. And here is the link that I would post in As You Learn so that my students could access this particular discussion. You'll notice that there is a link to the grid because I may create one grid with multiple topics that I want them to access all semester, or if I just want them to zoom into introductions, I might use this link down here. I hope that helps.